Judd and Ruby have just celebrated their 8-month anniversary after meeting on Instagram.
I asked her to be my girlfriend. And that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was going to wait till I met her, but
too irresistible.
They're in love and they're happy. They're also homeless. Along with their friend Harry, they've been living in crisis housing in Adelaide for the past 2 months.
It's always us three. We're like a little family of our own now. I don't think we could have got through what we've been through without each other. We've kind of been each other's, like... Rocks, yeah.
Ruby, who is 17, and her partner Judd were living with family friends. But with too many people in the house and personalities clashing, they were forced to leave.
They asked us to...
Leave.
Yeah. So we left.
The couple walked into Housing SA with no money, no food, and no idea what they were going to do. After a couple of nights at motels and caravan parks, they got a spot at Youth 110, an inner-city apartment complex.
Hello.
Hey. It's the only crisis accommodation of its kind in Australia, where homeless 16 to 21-year-olds live in a building alongside private owners and renters. It's replaced the Refuges the charity used to run, where young homeless people were forced to share facilities.
So when you come into those buildings, it says to you really, okay, you're part of this now, you're a homeless person, this is as good as it gets. You've got this or the gutter. And sometimes you could look back and you'd say, well, actually out there in the streets is better and safer.
The new model avoids the creation of a crisis accommodation ghetto.
It's a game changer as far as saying to those people, you are part of our community, you're a citizen of our world, you're part of our neighbourhood.
To like think where we'd be without this place, especially Youth 110, it's kind of scary. Like, I mean, we could be living out of the boot of our car.
Yeah, usually a different spot every day.
Living in Youth 110 or a car isn't an option for 25-year-old Jessie, one of hundreds of people sleeping rough on the streets of Adelaide. What would a night's sleep be like?
Well, honestly, I don't usually sleep until I'm so exhausted I just drop, and then it's a matter of just passing out and hoping I make it through the night.
So you'd only get a couple of hours, I guess?
Yeah, only a couple of hours, and it's never proper rested sleep. I always wake up tired, I always wake up sore, lethargic. It's pretty horrible.
Since being released from jail where he was serving time for an aggravated robbery, he's been homeless.
As a sufferer from mental health disorders or mental illness, I thought it pretty disgusting that there wasn't any support for me within the community, especially considering I don't have friend or family support at this point in time due to the nature of the offences that were committed and everything else that's going on that made things pretty rough. And falling on the street with no friends is a really hard time.
Jesse has been homeless for 18 months. He's one of the 21,000 South Australians who are on the list for public housing.
People quite often crash in little gardens like this. They pull out boxes, cardboard, that sort of thing. And yeah, maybe a bit of like bedding or something they'll fashion out of something like that plastic tarp that's there, or yeah.
Yeah. And so you would sleep in areas like this, around in different spots around the city?
I've slept in areas like this quite a few times, but usually I tend to, as I said, sleep in car parks or stairwells. Stairwells are quite lovely.
Yeah, and so you're looking for enclosed spaces?
I look for enclosed spaces as opposed to out in the open because I feel safer sleeping in enclosed spaces. I had a few scares last year with people injecting me with drugs in my sleep, and I did get, as I said, bashed and sexually assaulted a couple of times whilst I was trying to sleep. So it makes me a bit hesitant to sleep anywhere or to go anywhere other out in the open.
Jessie relies on charities like Hutt Street to survive, which feeds around 150 homeless people daily.
I've seen people as young as 15 come in here. There may have been younger again, but certainly as young as 15 that have had terrible problems at home, have been beaten up at home or sexually abused at home, or have been involved in drug and alcohol abuse. And as a refuge, they come here looking for somebody to help.
According to Homelessness Australia, there are around 6,000 homeless people in South Australia. About a quarter are aged between 12 and 25. Youth 110 and Hutt Street say demand for their services is on the rise, partly due to social housing options drying up.
Hey, brother. How you going, brother? What I've noticed in the last few years, I suppose, there's been a lack of exit options in terms of housing for people. Even to getting to a boarding house or something like Vinnie's, you know, people are getting turned away, and it's not just one or two people. It could be several people per night.
Where other options are failing, 90% of people who end up at Youth 110 find private rentals. But it takes time. The Three Musketeers have applied for more than 50 homes over the past 2 months, but have been rejected every time.
We look at houses pretty much every day that we can. We apply for a lot of houses, which unfortunately we aren't having much luck with, because I think obviously just the fact that we're young.
It's not all bad news. Ruby has just found out she's got a job at a nearby fast food chain. Judd has been accepted to study a Certificate 3 in police studies, and Harry has also picked up work door knocking for a charity.
Ooh, that one.
Now, all they need is a home.